ready, first grade, for us to take all of what we've learned about figurative language and put it together today to write a poem all about springtime. Now, yesterday you filled out a pre-write where you were able to fill in ideas using alliteration, onomatopoeia, our five senses, and similes to describe the season of spring, which is the season we are currently in. Now, just to review, remember alliteration is when two or more nearby words make the same beginning sound. So Mara makes many muffins. So these are like our tongue twisters, right? An onomatopoeia is a way that an author brings their poetry or writing to life by taking words that sound like the object that it's describing, like boom and bam, or buzz or hiss or crack or splat. We also learned about similes, which is when you compare two things using the words like or as. And lastly, we have our five senses, which we use our smell, taste, touch, sound, and sight, which is another way for us to describe different objects. So what we are going to do today, our objective is I can write a spring poem. And how we're going to do this is by using figurative language, and we're doing this to make our writing interesting. So let's pop over to what we worked on yesterday. Yesterday, you filled in a chart on Seesaw where you came up with different ideas for five sentences, alliteration, simile, and onomatopoeia. So in my pre-write that I did, I said spring smells like fresh picked flowers. Spring feels as fresh as a shower. Spring tastes like sweet candy. For my alliteration, I said beautiful, bright butterfly, buzzing, beaming bumblebees, fresh and full flowering flowers for my alliteration. Then my similes, I have spring is as warm as a fresh cookie. Bunnies are as funny as furry as cotton balls. And spring is as bright as a sparkling diamond. And then my onomatopoeias I decided to use were chirp, chirp, boom, drip, drop. So I have for the birds, thunder, and rain. So what my job is today is I have to take these ideas and create a poem that includes all four of our types of figurative language. Now, before I show you what I have done, I want us to take a look at our shared rubric here. Now, these are the expectations that I'm hoping to see within your poems, because we know that smart writers and readers too use lists to keep them on track to make sure that they're meeting the expectations. So today, with our similes, I expect that in your poems, you're attempting to use more than one simile. If you use one simile, you're meeting the expectation, but for a challenge, use more than one. I also expect everyone to have one onomatopoeia or more, at least one alliteration, and one example of imagery, which is our five senses. Now, that's like the content of our poem, but we also have to think about the conventions of our poem. So is it easy to read with minimal errors? Are there almost no spelling mistakes in your poem? And does it look like a poem? So the structure, right? So we've talked a lot about, does it have stanzas? Is it going to be centered? Is it going to be in a certain shape? How are we going to make it look like a poem? And so this is our job today. You are going to take your pre-write that you did in Seesaw, and you are then going to make it into a poem. Now, on your Seesaw app, I have provided you some lined paper, an area for the title and your name as the poet. You can either write directly on this in Seesaw, or you can print it out and use it, or you can use a blank piece of paper as well if you would like to use a different shape or some decorations. Remember the decorations, though, you cannot color over your words because I have to be able to read them still, okay? So for my poem, what I did was I grabbed a couple of ideas from my pre-write, and I added some that weren't even on there. I added some rhyming words because I wanted to challenge myself. And so my poem today is called Spring, Spring. And I started with, spring is here at last. I'm so glad winter is past. Chirp, chirp. Spring is as warm as a fresh cookie. Boom, boom. Spring feels as fresh as a shower. Drip, drop. Spring is as bright as a sparkling diamond. Beautiful, bright butterflies. Buzzing, beaming bumblebees. Spring is here. Let's all cheer. And so if we use my poem, let's take a look. Did I make it look like a poem? Yeah, I have a title, I made it centered. I have different stanzas. So yeah, I definitely think I made it look like a poem today. And then let's see, did I use, if we take a look back at our rubric, did I use similes, onomatopoeias, alliteration, and imagery? Well, let's see. Chirp, chirp, boom, boom, drip, drop. I use my onomatopoeias. Check. Let's see. Spring is here at last. I am so glad winter is past. Here I use some rhyming words. Remember, that's not up here, and that's okay. I can add new ideas. Then I said spring is as warm as a fresh cookie. So that's a simile. Check. Spring feels as fresh as a shower. That is both five senses and a simile. Double check marks for me. Spring is as bright as a sparkling diamond. Check, another simile. Beautiful, bright butterflies, buzzing, beaming bumblebees. Oh, that is some awesome alliteration. So I did all of the expectations that I needed to do on my rubric. So you are going to do the same thing. So go ahead and find your pre-write from yesterday, choose your best ideas, and remember you can add new ideas in there as well, and even try to use rhyming words if you want to, and be as creative as you want. I can't wait to read these. And then also record yourself reading your poem when you're all finished. Okay, first grade? All right, go off and have some fun making your spring poems.